Around the House. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to Around the House Pro Insider. This is where we talk everything construction design related for the pros out there that are doing this every single day for their love of the craft, love of the trades, all that you're doing out there. We appreciate every single one of you. Well, I wanted to talk today about affordable housing and how we're really messing it up. And I'm not talking you and me in the trades, but I'm talking about each one of our local governments. Now, plenty of people out there are doing decent work around the country. When I'm talking small cities, that kind of stuff. Others, like where I live here in Portland, Oregon, they can't get out of their own way to make housing more expensive. Now, we've got to come up with some changes here in Portland to make this work. Because quite frankly, we've got a hot mess going. And let me tell you why. So there was a article yesterday in Pamplin Media here in Portland in their Business Tribune page. And this is part of the problem why we see affordable housing just go to the wayside. Now, one of the problems is the city of Portland tries to get its hands in on affordable housing. So they go, hey, we're going to build low-income housing, which ends up being the worst idea because the city of Portland builds low-income housing at 3 or 4 times the cost of what a regular residential developer would do. And it's because of the hoops, the favors, the, quite frankly, corruption that you see within city government. It just happens that way. There is no way they build that for the same price as what a residential builder would do with markup. So that's the part of that gets really crazy. So it doesn't really do much as far as the city only has so much money to deal with. So they go spend it, build half as many homes as they could have done if they would have worked with a residential developer. So we help half as many people. So that system's fairly well broken, and it's fairly well documented here in Portland. One, the other thing is there's a developer here that is he had to build 14 townhomes. This is a story I was talking about from Pamplin Media. Goes out to build 14 townhomes. It takes him 3.5 years, almost 4 years, to get building permits. So think about that. This isn't just a COVID thing. I'm not buying that excuse because this has happened here in Portland for years. So I bought a block and I put in these nice townhomes for people in a nice area. So it's not like there's a bunch of utilities that are having to go in. There's not one of those things where it was that big of a deal. So they came in and they're building these things almost 4 years later. Now here's where things are really broken in our city. And this is where I think we as a building community need to help get these things back on track, put our voices out there. The development fees on this project, you're getting close to 10% by the time you're done with it. I think it's 9% on a project like this. That is crazy. So that's just permit fees and all the stupid little things that they charge you when you go get a building permit. So out of the millions of dollars for this thing, the city has taken almost 10% of it. And that's where we start getting into the problems. So what I would like to see for communities out there that want to get affordable housing, here's some of the boxes that I would check. I would make sure that if someone's going to build something called affordable housing, that there are no permit fees, no service development fees, any of that stuff. Because if you were building this project that was in the news, you're taking 10% off the top by dropping those fees. I've seen a builder go in, pull his permit on utilities that are already on the site there because there used to be a house there. that burn down, and I've seen $60,000 and $70,000 permit fees just to build a building back on an existing lot. And then we've got to stop some of the stupidity in what they require. For instance, here in the city of Portland, and I'm going to use these guys because they're local. I don't live in the city of Portland, so I can't vote on this. I don't have a voice in it, but I'm going to talk about it because it's the biggest metro. We're in that metro area, and they're the ones that have the biggest problems in my area. Great example, the Portland Bureau of Transportation, they can take a year to look at your plans. And if you're going to put in a sidewalk, for instance, they made him go in and do all this beautification stuff before the construction project started. Planting trees and all this stuff. Guess what? Those trees are getting busted up because all these little saplings should have went in after the major construction was done. Nope. They're getting hit by trucks, forklifts. Plus, in the city of Portland, quite frankly, I'm sure there's people trying to camp on that space anyway. So these are the problems we're running into out there. And if we're going to fix affordable housing, if we're going to get that dialed in, we got to start with our city governments and cutting the red tape. I'm not saying don't build building permits. I want to see the building permit process. This project shouldn't have gone over 6 months in a building permit process. Because the developer's got 4 years sitting on an empty lot, paying on taxes that are all part of development costs. You think the city is going to sit there and not charge him taxes on those lots while he's waiting for 2 years to get through a process? Let alone 4 years? Come on. So we've got to fix our city governments and cut the red tape for affordable housing. This project here, if it was going to be built as affordable housing, I bet you by cutting red tape, getting rid of the development fees, you've now reduced that cost of that building by 20%. Now we're starting to get someplace. And now some of the other things that we run into as far as red tape here in Portland, and this is a little more complex because I kind of agree with it on some aspects, but it doesn't help us build affordable homes. Great example, if I've got a house built in 1939, and I want to put a condo complex on it of affordable housing that's got 4, 6, 10 units, whatever it is. And I'm going to tear that down. For safety, I have to go in there and remove all the asbestos, lead paint, all that stuff, have it abated out of the entire project. I can't come in there with an excavator and tear the thing down and haul it off because that would be the most efficient way to do it. I have to hire a crew to come in there and hand disassemble this piece by piece and unconstruct the building. The problem we have is most of those building materials don't get reused. They're not of really much value. So there's not much you can do with that. There's not a big market for unused, tore up, half rotted 2x4s. So a lot of that material doesn't get reused. Some does, some doesn't, depending on what you've got. But again, these are things that I get worried about of what we're doing in the name of, wow, that's a smart idea that just makes things more and more and more expensive. The more we make it expensive, the harder it is to get people that should be in a single family home into a home. And those are things that we're going to see. It doesn't matter. All these things relate. It doesn't matter if it's an apartment complex. Because if this was a multifamily apartment complex, you're still paying 4 years, taking 4 years to get that building permit. You still have to go through those same hoops, the same stuff. So it's all going to be the same. So let's start holding our local governments accountable for these problems and speaking up and speaking out. Because all of a sudden, if we could get this red tape stopped, that is needless, if they could be efficient with what they're doing, now you've taken a project, getting it done in 2.5 years early. You've taken 20% off the top in the costs, not even counting what inflation was on stuff. I mean, if you look at what lumber prices were, I'm sure that added a whole bunch to this. So I'm not going to even get into that, but you know what I'm saying. I think we got to really turn our heads into what's happening in our local cities, our local towns, our counties, our townships, and start holding our government officials accountable to what's going on in the building community, because that is what's going to keep housing prices down. And I think, if you're going to build certified, housing that is affordable, I say they should waive a lot of the rules. Not talking one thing about a building permit, but I'm talking about the fees, sometimes even urban growth boundaries in buildings. What can we do to get these things be more affordable just in cutting out the nutty bureaucracy? All right, that's my soapbox for the day. I'm Eric G., and we've got a great show ahead this weekend that you don't want to miss. Thanks for listening to Around the House Pro Insider.